Night at about 8:15, two male victims were sitting in a Chrysler 300 in this driveway on Fielding Street when an unknown suspect fired multiple shots into the vehicle.
They killed my kids in my face!
I heard his mom screaming, talking about they killed her kids in her driveway. It was just terrible.
One man dead, the other in critical condition, and the shooter got away.
I don't dispay with. You know what I'm saying? I don't dispay with, nigga. Fuck Jizzle. Cold. Say we ain't stepping. I guess your man's killed your. Now I guess your man's killed himself then, huh? Yo, face. Yo, your face, please. With sugar on top.
Alright, y'all, now time after time I have been telling y'all, if y'all been tuned into the platform, that y'all always gonna hear me say that Chicago gets the credit for being the kickstarters for the whole drill movement, but other cities have taken it to new heights as well. It's not just about Chicago anymore, whereas it seemed like these other areas have taken over and became just as or even more ruthless. From Philly, St. Louis, Indiana, Baltimore, Memphis, and last but not least, Detroit. Now, Detroit's drill scene have been some of the most craziest I've seen in a long time, mirroring the same gritty drill culture as Chicago and bodies dropping just as much. They say during the pandemic in 2020, it happened to be one of the worst years when it comes to Detroit as far as homicides go, as it's been reported that 327 homicides occurred. With money flowing relentlessly around that time and a world that stands still, it's obvious why. And although I said Detroit may be up there with Chicago, Chicago still take the cake by a long shot because they recorded almost 1,000 homicides, almost triple Detroit's numbers in that same year. However, one of the reasons for the crime rate going up in Detroit seemed to be an active feud between two sets known as Cashgang and BandGang. Going back and forth in their music, followed by a body dropping on both sides, this has made up the typical drill pattern that we've seen within the whole scene, no matter what city you're in. But one of the most known shootings that happened during their feud has to be the unaliving of BandGang member by the name of BandGang Jizzel P. Jizzel was one of the known rappers out of the group whose future in music looked prominent until one fatal day. On September 22nd, 2020, at around 8:15 p.m., Jizzle and another individual was sitting in a Chrysler 300 vehicle in a driveway on Fielding Street near McNichols and Evergreen. A car would pull up as an unknown suspect would get out and fire multiple shots, striking Jizzel P multiple times, then fled him back in their vehicle. The person who was with Jizzle was also shot, ended up in critical condition, but he survived. Jizzel P was taken to a nearby hospital where he was later pronounced deceased. Now, the craziest part about this one is that his mother was right there when everything happened. And according to reports, she stated that all she seen was smoke coming from his face due to how many times he was shot in his face. Now, can you imagine being a parent and seeing something like that happen to your child? Crazy. Now, shout out to Dose of Mystery as always. We're going to get into the video, breaking everything down, but before we do, make sure you hit that thumbs up button so we can get this video into the algorithm. And if you not subscribed to the platform already, make sure you do so now. Let's get into it.
Neighbors say generally a nice, quiet neighborhood near McNichols and Evergreen. Neighbors confirmed that the man who died was a local rapper, BandGang Jizzle P.
Aaron Mays, better known as Jizzel P, was shot and last night while sitting in a car on Detroit's west side.
My heart don't hurt, my soul hurt.
Perfect.
My soul hurt.
He was perfect.
I watched my son die in my face.
It was the last official day of summer, September 22nd, 2020. In Detroit, the air was starting to cool, but for Aaron Mays, aka rapper BandGang Jizzle P, the day felt like any other. He had errands to run, music to record, and plans to shoot a new video later that night with a fellow artist, according to his cousin.
Yo, you know what's crazy? Not to cut it off right once we get into it, but I always say, man, when dudes lose their life, because you think that during that day, they didn't even see it coming. right? Like you have your whole life planned ahead of you. Like I gotta go to the studio. I'm about to go shopping for my son. I'm about to go get something to eat at this restaurant later. I gotta go pick up my mother. I gotta do X, Y, and Z. And you don't even know what's coming to you. That gotta be one of the most craziest parts.
Jermaine, who was with him for most of the day, Jizzle had gone to the mall and returned to his mother's house to relax before linking up with his girlfriend. He wasn't hiding. He wasn't stressed. He was calm. He was home. That evening, around 8:15 p.m., Jizzle sat in a Chrysler 300, parked in the driveway of his mother's house on Detroit's west side, off Fielding Street, near McNichols and Evergreen. Only 2 people sat in the car that day, BandGang Jizzel P and his cousin, Jermaine. One of them passed away. The other lived to tell the story. They were talking, joking, normal things. Jizzle's mother even came out to chat.
Detroit police confirming on Tuesday night at about 8:15, 2 male victims were sitting in a Chrysler 300 in this driveway on Fielding Street when an unknown suspect fired multiple shots into the vehicle.
And raw.
Let me tell y'all, right? One thing I would say, if you know you into any type of anything in the streets, you should know ahead of time you never sit in them cars. That's one thing I could say about Chicago. They know that for a bit, like they know like that's the thing. You don't ever sit in the car. You basically a sitting duck. Because if your ops got the drop on you, where can you go? It's not enough speed in the world for you to put that car and drive if you already parked in. You see what I'm saying? And even if you have your weapon on you, what a lot of people don't understand, there's a lot of people that lost their lives with their weapon on them. Because it's but so much reaction time. Even if you got it right there on your lap, if somebody got the ups on you and they strike first, it's not much you could do.
An emotional interview. Jermaine described the ambush that changed everything. Jermaine and Jizzle were parked outside, waiting on Jizzle's girlfriend. The energy was calm. They were vibing, talking, just passing time. Then came the gunfire. I wound up losing a real one, you feel me? Jermaine said, his voice catching in the interview. And not only that, but I almost checked. Jermaine was shot multiple times, 3 times in the stomach and 2 more in the shoulder, with what he described as an assault rifle. The only reason he survived, he said, was the angle of his seat. Jermaine, who stands over 6 feet tall, had his seat pushed back. That gave him just enough space to twist his body into the back seat as bullets rained into the car. Jizzle, in the front passenger seat, sat upright. He had no such cover. It went down, Jermaine recalled. Everything else was just homicide music.
Well, you ever seen Scooby-Doo when Shaggy and Scooby will run, but their clothes will be still standing there? You can do that in real life. If somebody pull a gun out on you, bro, and you know what I'm saying? That's that. But I'm saying that's the mindset you gotta have. Because if I just sat there, I would have got my back. If I would have just sat there and thought and begged and pleaded and cried, and nah, I mean, it's survival.
Well, you didn't talk to the person though. That it wasn't
no talking. Despite the
yo, listen, before it even came out of his mouth, pause. But before it even came out, there's no talking. Like, you didn't talk to the person? That's what I be saying. Yo, listen, that's another thing. When y'all go to these platforms, man, it's like, come on. You didn't talk to the person. If they pulling up guns blazing, how am I going to talk to him? My man is already shot. They trying to shoot us. What I'm supposed to do? Hold on real quick. Let me ask you a question. Why are you doing? What is it? Yeah, I tell you, some of these, y'all got to stop going to some of these platforms, man. The questions just be foolish. You didn't stop to talk to him. He just got finished telling you that he was basically trying to run out his clothes. How you going to have time to stop? Crazy.
Injuries. Jermaine stayed away. He didn't panic. He didn't cry. I just kept coaching myself, he said. You got a mama. You got a sister. You got family that love you. He said he remained calm and focused, even as his body began to shut down. I survived for 15 minutes after that, he said. I got to the hospital and I had to ask them for oxygen myself. When Jermaine woke up in the ICU, hooked up to machines, he wanted to know one thing. Was Jizzle okay? His mother and girlfriend tried to keep him calm. They said he was still in surgery. Jermaine remembered, but deep down, he already knew. They didn't want me to go into a different state, he said, but I knew. Jizzle's mother was standing nearby when it happened. She saw it all. I watched my son pass away, she later said. My heart don't hurt, my soul hurt. The flashes from the gun were so bright that he couldn't even see the shooter's face, only light and smoke.
I couldn't see his face at all. The fire from the gun, it was just to.
Within seconds, her son's body was slumped in the driver's seat, bleeding out into the car where he had been just laughing. Jermaine, riddled with bullets, 15 in total, was somehow still alive. One hit his stomach, another shattered his shoulder, a third tore through his foot. He didn't panic. He focused on breathing. By the time paramedics arrived, he was barely holding on.
I just got back from fishing, and I was coming out of the basement and into the kitchen, and I heard about 8 gunshots.
Neighbors rushed outside after hearing the shots. One of them described the sound of Sanikiwa's screams cutting through the quiet.
They my kids in my face.
I heard his mom.
You hear that? As a parent, could you imagine just hearing that? They shot my kids. They unalived my kids in my face.
Screams cutting through the quiet.
They my kids in my face.
I heard his mom screaming, talking about her kids in her driveway. It was just terrible.
Detroit police responded within minutes, taping off the street, collecting shell casings, but the shooter was gone. No one had seen where he came from. No one saw where he went. The darkness and the flashes had obscured everything. The gunman had vanished. The days following Jizzel P's hit were heavy across Detroit. Fans, friends, and fellow artists flooded social media with tributes, disbelief, and pain. The messages came fast and raw, some in shock, others in rage, but all shared one thing in common. Jizzle wasn't supposed to go out like this. Within hours.
Now, you know why they say that? Because, and it's crazy ironic how this always happens. Now, the gang that he's affiliated with, which is BandGang, yeah, he was the rapper, but a lot of them were saying, yo, he wasn't with the street stuff, right? He wasn't doing, spinning, he wasn't doing none of that. He was affiliated with us. Yes, he was BandGang, I guess you could say, but when it came to the street aspect of it, he wasn't a part of that. He just happened to get caught up in that whole, BandGang versus this gang and that gang. But the problem is with the streets, you guilty by association. GBA, everybody know that. And I think that's what contributed to him being in the car just sitting like a sitting duck. Because maybe he thought like, yo, they're not caring about me. Like, I ain't into that. I'm rapping. But the thing is, if they can't get to him or them, and they know where you at, they're going to come and get you because they want to send that message. Simple.
Of the news breaking, BandGang affiliates began posting tributes. BandGang Jizzle wrote, "I appreciate the love, but I don't want sympathy. Just respect AJ's family." Others, like BandGang Biggs, expressed disbelief in interviews weeks later. "I still don't believe it," he said.
When that shit happened, I don't know, bro. That shit kind of fucked me up. I'm like, damn, my baby really gone. Like, you know what I'm saying? This a nigga that I was hanging with damn near every day type shit. Like, we in the studio, you know what I'm saying? He ain't really, like, that nigga was just cool as hell. He just like to do music, talk shit, like, you know what I'm saying? So this was a nigga that I was with damn near every day. So that shit kind of fucked my head up. I'm like, damn, my baby really out this bitch. Like, that's crazy as hell. Like, that was really probably one of the most unexpected of 2020. Like,
the grief wasn't just in the music scene. On the west side of Detroit, where BandGang had long been considered hometown heroes, candles were lit and makeshift memorials appeared. Friends and family came together not just to mourn, but to try to make sense of it. Jizzle's mother, still in shock, told reporters she was trying to stay strong for her son. "He don't want me to cry. He don't want me to mourn," she said, but it was impossible to ignore the pain in her voice. BandGang Lonnie Bands put out a statement following Jizzel P's passing. "Dear fans, we appreciate all the love and support pouring in and the well wishes for us, our fallen comrades, and their families. Please be reminded that the content and depictions reflected in our music and social media platforms are for entertainment purposes only. We do not condone or encourage retaliations on any level, in any form, anyone whatsoever. We pray for peace and blessings upon our fans and our great city of Detroit."
Now, I don't know. Let me tell y'all something. I don't know why these guys chose to do things like this as if law enforcement is foolish. You could put out all the little cool statements, and try to make it seem like it's nothing, but you can't erase history, right? And for as much as these guys be going back and forth on social media, trying to, get the attention of their ops or do whatever for their ops or the sake of just being in whatever feud they in, what I always say is they don't understand that it's not just the fans watching, it's not just the ops. It's also police. So you done dissed this whoever a bunch of times in your previous records, and then when something go down, lo and behold, you say, oh, well, we don't condone this, or we don't do that, we're this, we're that. What you think, that erased the history of what was happening before it led to this? You see what I'm saying? So at the end of the day, man, you could save it. Some of these guys are just best not saying anything at all and just letting it be what it be and leaving it in the street.
Understand the world Jizzel P came from, you have to understand BandGang. Formed in the early 2010s, BandGang built a name through bold lyrics, raw visuals, and a streetwise image that blended luxury with hustle. Each member brought a different energy to the table, but the band they formed together carried weight across the city. BandGang came up during the rise of Detroit scam rap, known for its stripped-back production, quick punches, and talk of money, finesse, and power. The flows were rugged and offbeat, but the appeal was undeniable. They dropped music constantly, supported each other across videos, mixtapes, and dominated YouTube's underground rap ecosystem long before mainstream attention caught up. But if rumors are to be delivered, BandGang didn't shy away from retaliations. BandGang and their affiliate crew, Sh0t Gang, were more than just musical groups. They were viewed by law enforcement and the streets alike as the face of a clique that funded its rise through credit card fraud and enforced its reputation with retaliatory attacks. Though their music pushed themes of wealth and hustle, the real-life consequences of their conflicts spilled into the public, leaving a trail of shootings, federal indictments, and loss. Trouble started early. In 2015, founding member Martez sh0t Taylor was chased down and fatally shot in Detroit's busy Greektown district. The assailant, Denzel Talbert, was later sentenced to 17 years for manslaughter. sh0t's passing marked the...
Now, you know what's crazy? 17 years for a body is insane. Right? And this is why some of these, I don't know the laws out there, I don't know what's going on, but maybe this is why a lot of them don't care about committing these crimes, because the time for it is, think about it. If you 20, so let's say you're 23, you get 17 years, that's pretty much nothing. And most of them get out on good time. So they're like, all right, well, I'm going to catch this body because I know I'm going to see the light of day again, opposed to somewhere or someone who's in an area where they know if they catch that body, it's pretty much over. But I did hear something about that shooting. I'm not too sure. I'm not sure if it was also considered a self-defense, or I forgot what happened, but who knows?
First high-profile tragedy within the BandGang family. Not long after, in early 2016, federal prosecutors say a feud over scam profits escalated into gunfire between BandGang and rival crews Too Much Cash and Trust No One. In March 2016, Sh0t Gang Bugs was allegedly shot in the face at a birthday party concert in Kalamazoo, an incident tied to a now infamous rumor. Allegedly, members of BandGang and Sh0t Gang stole a local promoter's Cartier Buff's glasses, which led to an argument and gunfire. Bugs survived, but the story of that night became part of Detroit's rap lore and intensified tension between Kalamazoo and Detroit rappers. Following the incident, Jizzel P and Rhonda 9000 reportedly dropped a diss response titled, "What's the Problem?" The track was pointed...
Oh. See, this is what I'm talking about. Guys love to say that this and that one ain't affiliated. Oh, they ain't have nothing to do. But if you sitting here, you're not only in music videos with guys that you know outside doing X, Y, and Z, but you featured on songs that's dissing people, just know once you do that, you pretty much in the beef. Whether you have direct beef with so-and-so, once you sit there and get on any song that's in any way, shape, or form of a diss, you might as well strap up and know that it could go down at any time. Simple.
In the comments by fans and became a flashpoint online. Another comment teased that even Trap Black 1300, a Kazoo rapper, referenced the dispute on YouTube, but Jizzel P stood out within the crew for his charisma. He leaned into themes of success, presentation, and aspirations. While others pushed intensity, Jizzel kept his delivery smooth. He often rapped about getting ahead, clothes, ambition, and making smart moves.
He just wasn't that type of guy. He just wasn't. If you listen to his music, it was all boss talk. He was kind of like a payroll junior, if you will. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? It was S classes, it was, you know what I'm saying, yachts, yacht masters, and cathedral ceilings, and off-white this, Louis Valentino. It wasn't, you know what I'm saying, even in the heat of everything, it wasn't, you will never know.
On the surface, Jizzel P.
See, but once again, once you put yourself affiliated with certain people, knowing what's going on in the street, it don't matter. It don't matter. Simple as that. Once you feature on a song, once you in a video, once you make it known that that's who you picking sides with, just know that when they Opps see you, they're going to do something to you as well. So you got to be prepared, or I don't know. You just got to be
He didn't live like a man caught up in street retaliations. His music focused on ambition. His public image leaned towards style and success. But he was aware that his place in BandGang still brought danger.
I don't like looking over my shoulders every time I get in Detroit. I don't like want to not go over my sister's house or my mama's house, because people see me, they riding down the block and they see me, they want to turn their heads and be all crazy. So yeah, I had to switch that around real quick.
His passing triggered a flood of rumors, and those close to Detroit's rap scene knew where to look first. Many pointed towards a deep and escalating feud between BandGang and cashgang. The two crews operated in overlapping spaces, with affiliations and conflicts that stretched back years. Fast forward to September 2020, a few weeks before Jizzel P's passing, BandGang and Sh0t gang affiliates appeared on Instagram Live, arguing with 392 lled, a known cashgang figure. The back and forth was hostile. Threats were made. Screenshots circulated. Comments hinted that the tension had reached a boiling point. 3 weeks later, Jizzel P was hit, and lled was seen celebrating.
No little bro got five.
Online, fans and insiders alike began connecting the dots, and the reaction from cashgang affiliates only fueled the suspicion.
Niggas say we ain't stepping. I guess your man's killed your... Man, I guess your man's killed this Sh0t then, huh? If we ain't...
On Instagram Live, shortly after the hit, FWC Big Key flashed an AR-style rifle and grinned while mocking Jizzle's passing. Some commenters laughed, others watched in disbelief.
I gotta go get my AR, man. I got too many death threats.
These weren't generic threats or loose disses. These were targeted responses, posted and promoted in the days after Jizzle's passing. They weren't confessions, but they were received as statements. In his eyes, Jizzel hadn't been playing the game. He was caught in it anyway. His ties to BandGang had made him a target, whether or not he was part of the retaliatory attacks. And in Detroit,
exactly, see? Exactly what I said. What he probably don't even know them dudes. That's the crazy part. And it could be one or two things, right? It's either, yo, you affiliated with them, so we gotta get you, or two, you getting big, right? You looking like you about to take these guys somewhere and actually start making money. And you know what? Let's get rid of him, because as long as we wipe him out, they got no chances of making it. A lot of guys feel like that. But like you just said, they probably didn't even know each other, man, which is crazy.
Affiliation can be everything.
Y'all, some niggas snuck Jizzle. Y'all don't get no cool points for Jizzle, bro. Jizzle wasn't trying to be in no beef. Y'all don't get no cool points. Y'all ain't try to pull a move on nobody who really doing something. So, what's going on?
AJ was not a Glock boy. That nigga was definitely BandGang. And he wasn't even on the shit, you feel me? And I was around to see that. He wasn't even on the shit, you feel me?
Despite rumors in the rap community suggesting retaliation or gang involvement, authorities did not publicly confirm any connection to rival collectives such as cashgang or TMC. No names were officially tied to the investigation, and police cautioned against speculation while continuing to process physical and video evidence. Detectives canvassed the neighborhood, collecting shell casings and deployed surveillance footage. However, no clear description of the shooter surfaced, and no arrests were made as of the latest reporting. Rest in peace, BandGang.
All right, y'all. So that's pretty much it, man. Now, like I said, this is one of those unfortunate stories, because when you do look at Jizzle, he doesn't seem like somebody that was intertwined in the beef, right? But like we said, at the end of the day, you're GBA, guilty by association. And if you know that you surrounded, and this is why you have to know your surroundings, man. It's no different than when you riding with somebody, they get in your car and they got a weapon in your car and don't tell you. But when the cops come, they don't want to own up to it, right? It's like they putting you in a weird situation, but this is why you got to know who the people you have around you. I'm sure Jizzle probably knew them guys, but at the end of the day, he didn't probably think it was going to get as deep as it did, because he felt he wasn't, you know, in the beef. But unfortunately, once again, you're guilty by association. And yeah, it get like that in the streets, man. It's unfortunate, but Rest in peace to this man. Like I said, he seemed like one of the guys that wasn't really on it like that, man. And it's unfortunate because he was also unalive right in front of his mother. At his mother's house. Right? He literally went to go see his mother, which only tells me, too, that 9 times out of 10, whoever did it, they had to drop on his mother's house. They wasn't at his house. Either one or two. They followed him from the mall, or they was already sitting on his mother's house and waiting for him to come. And as soon as he did, they struck. So, crazy, man. Y'all jump in the comments. Let me know what y'all think about this. Don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe. Hit that bell so you're notified every time we drop new content. And remember, as long as you keep on watching, I'ma keep on dropping. I'm out.